It was supposed to be a routine sortie. In and out. Bomb a suspected Ukrainian logistics hub and vanish back into the Donetsk twilight. But on July 14, 2024, the sky burned over Luhansk. SU-34 Fullback bombers screamed low over the tree line, but they weren't alone. High above them, a far more silent predator waited. Not a jet. Not a drone. A ground-launched precision killer. HIMARS. No radar warning. No lock-on beeps. Just one thunderous flash. By the time the Russians realized what hit them, the pride of their airstrike force was a fireball plunging into the earth. Major Pavel Yegorov, decorated pilot and squadron commander, listened intently inside the concrete briefing bunker outside Rostov. His unit, 3rd Guards Bomber Aviation Regiment, was ordered to launch a 5-aircraft formation of Su-34 bombers to strike an alleged Ukrainian ammunition depot northeast of Sloviansk. Intelligence had flagged the target only hours earlier via intercepted communications and satellite imagery. "We hit hard, no lingering," the colonel barked. "No dogfights. In and out under cloud cover. AWACS will provide airspace visibility. But be advised, Ukrainians have HIMARS operating in the region. Stay mobile. Stay alive." Yegorov exchanged glances with his wingman, Captain Oleg Sidorov, a former stunt pilot turned combat ace. They both knew what HIMARS could do. Ukraine's American-supplied high-mobility artillery rocket system had already earned a brutal reputation, taking out convoys, command posts, and now rumored to be targeting aircraft even mid-mission. But orders were orders. By 1800 hours, all 5 Su-34s were taxiing onto the runway, their engines roaring, sleek bodies painted in ghostly gray camouflage. The war gods of the Russian Air Force were airborne once more. As the Su-34s soared low under radar and banked west, Pavel's mind raced. The air was unusually calm, too calm. Even the Ukrainian radio chatter, typically buzzing with movement, was eerily quiet. The AWACS operator chimed in every 5 minutes, reporting a clean path. But Yegorov's instincts, honed in Syria and over Georgia, screamed otherwise. The flight approached the kill zone, 10 kilometers from the target. Oleg's voice crackled in the comms. "Eyes on. Fuel depot dead ahead. Light SAM presence. Going in hot." They dove sharply. The Su-34s spread formation, deploying decoys and jamming signals, streaking like metallic birds of prey. Explosions rocked the depot as their FAB-500 bombs found their marks. A fireball lit up the darkening sky. Then it happened. In less than 2 seconds, 2 precision strike rockets, launched from over 70 kilometers away, arced into view, fast, silent, and deadly. HIMARS. Eagle 3, break. Break. Pavel shouted, but it was too late. Eagle 3 exploded mid-air, debris and flame raining down. A second HIMARS rocket hit Eagle 5, shearing the tail section completely. The aircraft spun violently and crashed in a wooded patch with no ejection. Silence on comms. Pavel's squad had just gone from 5 to 3. And the sky wasn't safe anymore. What Russian command didn't know was that Ukrainian forces had anticipated this strike. Their signals intercept teams had deciphered Russian movements, and HIMARS batteries had relocated just hours earlier to counter this very attack. In a hidden trench near Kramatorsk, Ukrainian artillery commander Lieutenant Irina Melnik monitored telemetry as her HIMARS crews locked in coordinates on the fast-moving Su-34s. Targets acquired. 3 minutes to intercept. Confirm rocket prep. 4 launchers stood ready, camouflaged under netting. Each carried 6 M31A1 GMLRS rockets, precision-guided, deadly accurate. The moment the Russian bombers dropped altitude for their attack run, Irina gave the order. Fire! Within moments, smoke trails pierced the clouds. The rockets screamed upward in unison. What made HIMARS so terrifying wasn't just its accuracy. It was how little warning it gave. There were no launch flares, no air-to-air missiles to detect. HIMARS turned traditional dogfight rules into a game of chess, long-range, invisible, and utterly devastating. Back in the air, Pavel and Oleg banked hard, releasing flares in every direction. The third HIMARS volley narrowly missed Eagle 4, though the concussive shockwave flipped the aircraft end over end. The pilot ejected seconds before impact. Now only Pavel and Oleg remained. But the mission wasn't over. Low on fuel, short on missiles, and outnumbered by unseen enemies, Pavel refused to retreat. "We hit the second depot." "Manual targeting," he growled. His voice calm, controlled, but seething with fire. Oleg paused. "You're insane." "Follow me," Pavel barked. The two remaining Su-34s performed a sharp U-turn, flying mere meters above treetops to avoid radar. They approached the second target, a railway loading station with armored trains full of fuel and ammo. Pavel manually released his payload, a direct hit. The railway line erupted in a mushroom of flames. But the HIMARS crews had repositioned again. New coordinates uploaded. This time, Irina herself manned the targeting scope. The Russian jets had revealed their direction with that second bombing run. "Launch. Now." 2 more rockets fired, chasing the fleeing bombers like guided ghosts. Pavel saw the trails. "Split," he shouted. He dove into a valley, banking sharp around a ruined silo. The first rocket lost track and exploded harmlessly against the terrain. But the second tracked Oleg. "Go vertical!" Pavel screamed. Oleg pulled hard. The fullback strained under G-force. Too late. The HIMARS rocket struck Oleg's undercarriage. His bomber broke apart mid-air. A flash. A scream. Static. Pavel roared into the sky, one man against a battlefield gone digital and invisible. The ghosts had teeth. Pavel's bomber limped eastward, fuel gauge blinking red, tail rudder damaged, no weapons left. AWACS was silent. Too many frequencies jammed. The radio hissed. He crossed back into Russian-controlled airspace 30 minutes later, landing at an emergency strip near Belgorod. His canopy popped open. Pavel stumbled out, alone, bruised, and fuming. Of the 5 Su-34s that had taken off, only 1 returned. At the post-mission debrief, a grim-faced general shook his head. "They knew you were coming. HIMARS tore us apart. American tech and Ukrainian brains." Pavel didn't speak. He just stared at the mission map. His squadron was gone. But more than that, the illusion of air superiority was shattered. In the weeks that followed, Russia drastically reduced Su-34 deployments in HIMARS-affected zones. Ukraine's mobile precision strikes had forced a change in air tactics. No longer could Russian bombers operate with impunity. Lieutenant Irina Melnik received the Order of Courage for her role in orchestrating the counter-ambush. Her HIMARS battery was relocated again, ready for the next silent kill. And Major Pavel Yegorov? He filed a resignation, then withdrew it. He requested a ground assignment, training new pilots not in bombing, but in surviving. He understood now. This war was no longer just about raw firepower. It was about precision, timing, and adaptation. The Su-34s were fierce. But HIMARS was invisible. And in modern war, what you don't see is what kills you.